Ladies and gentlemen, I will have made the biggest political prediction of all time. I wasn't even going to do this segment. So, if you want to hear the audio of the charade, this is not Biden. This is not Biden trying his best to win the nomination. This is Biden tanking deliberately his campaign to give the baton the nomination. This is a relay race to the Democratic machine, to the ultimate conclusion that I predicted. It's now the H.A. Goodman prophecy. Okay? It's the prediction. It's the biggest political prediction of all time. And I wrote about it in the Huffington Post. Clinton 2020 is a reality. Get ready for 8 years of Trump. Thank God. President Trump's a great president. Peace between North and South Korea. The beginning of détente. A roadmap towards peace, where President Moon Jae-in a couple months back stated that he could envision, of South Korea President Moon Jae-in, that he could envision a joint Olympic team between North Korean and South Korean athletes. That's pretty amazing. That's a bigger achievement than anything that took place in President Obama's administration. We're talking a failed NATO intervention that actually obliterated a country, and definitely anything that took place in Bush's administration, the worst president of all time, which was George W. Bush. But just listen to this, okay? We can go on forever. Trump's a great president. He's ending America's longest-running military conflict. Longest-running military conflict, counterinsurgency quagmire. Signed a peace deal just recently. Nobody's talking about it, but this is... Look... This is not happening the way people think it is. It is the biggest charade of all time. You're going to hear right now the audio. You're going to hear the audio. Here it is. This is CNN. This is Biden talking about the current crisis. You tell me if this is you tell me if Clinton's not going to be nominee listening to this, because the only person they're going to pass, the only person possible aside from Biden is Clinton. Hillary Clinton was always going to be nominee. This was always a charade, and Biden being the biggest actor of the whole thing. But here,
kinds of things that have kinds of
this is Biden on CNN. Okay, this is Biden on CNN trying to talk about how FDR would have handled the current crisis, but just listen to how he explains himself. This is part of the act, this entire act. But here,
things that have to be done. There's a during World War II, where Roosevelt came up with a thing that was totally different than he called it the World War II. He had the War Production Board. Kinds of.
Is this the leader of the free world? Is this the person that's going to? You can say what you like about President Trump. Is this the person that even has a chance? Hillary Clinton I give her a 20% chance of defeating President Trump. I think President Trump has an 80% chance of defeating Clinton. She only lost by 77,000 votes. And that's with the Green Party. I voted Jill Stein. I'm voting Trump this election, obviously. Corrupt intelligence officials, he's going after them. President Trump is a great president. But listen to this again. Does this make any sense to you? That's because Biden is not going to be nominee. Aside from the assault allegation that is linked to a filing a criminal complaint. The filing of a criminal complaint, nobody has filed a criminal complaint with the police department against President Trump or Kavanaugh. You know who did? Tara Reid. She filed a criminal complaint against Biden. That's because there's evidence there. That's because she's willing to go ahead and testify under oath. Nobody else would. But here, listen to this again.
The things that have to be done. There's a during World War II, where Roosevelt came up with a thing that was totally different than it's called, he called it the World War II. He had the War Production Board.
First of all, it's an act. The grandpa, the whole senile charade. It's an act. When he wants to, it's an act. The guy's not losing his mind, people. Don't even fall for that. Once you start falling for that, it's like that's part of the whole. Oh gosh, who do we have? No, the whole thing was set up. You know that song, "Put Me In, Coach, I'm ready to play." Well, I mean, that's my ACL. Okay, call up Rodham, batting .245 with 17 errors as a shortstop. Yeah, Rodham. H. Rodham. The whole thing. First of all, oh my God, listen to this again, and I'll explain.
Kinds of things that have to be done. There's during World War II, where Roosevelt came up with a thing that was totally different than he called it the World War II. He had the War Production Board.
Okay. I'm getting this from Joe Biden's latest rambling of words on CNN continues to not instill confidence for a Trump debate. So this is Town Hall, okay? This is a great article. Town Hall is not just a conservative, it might be more conservative leaning, but it's not it's a DC publication. Then you have Trump Jr. Trump Jr. tweeting this out. It already has, that segment has like 1 million views. A million people have seen. Debate's gonna be okay. So he's taught 3 hours ago. 1 million people have seen this. And the debate, they're talking about a debate between Joe Biden, and everyone's saying, well, how is he going to debate Trump? Well, he's obviously, first of all, if he needed to debate President Trump, he could actually be lucid enough and articulate enough to comprehend, like he was against Bernie Sanders. He's acting. Biden is acting just like everyone else was acting. He's not one fry short of a Happy Meal. At his best, it's like, he might not be all there, but he's not one fry short of a Happy Meal. He's acting. This is an act where he's taking a long time and fidgeting. It has nothing to do with any speech impediment or anything. It's nonsense. Clinton was always going to be nominee. That's it. It's a political machine. The issue is not with me when people say, "Oh, you're obsessed." No, that's actually people who don't see things the way I see them are obsessed with the notion that Clinton isn't megalomaniacal enough. Okay? To think that Clinton would never be nominee would also be to think that she's not, and Bill is not, narcissistic, megalomaniacal, and egotistical enough to do this all over again. But they are. And they will. And she could possibly win. And they know this. That's why their whole thing's unity. Once they galvanize and consolidate political support and then transferring the baton, the candidacy, the campaign to Clinton is going to be easy. They've already done it. Clinton can decide from here until the convention when she wants to enter. And she doesn't have to win one primary. Why? Because the pledged delegates are not legally bound, because it's a charade. The DNC fraud lawsuit already stated. The DNC lawyers already stated that they could pick their nominees from smoke-filled back rooms. But here, listen to it again. No, I'm sorry. What? He also stated that he wanted the cure to be worse than the problem. He also stated that he wanted to become senator. He also talked about cornflakes and grape nuts and lotion on his legs. What more do you want? What do you want from him? What do you want from him? You want him to take off his clothes and jump into the reflecting pool and go skinny dipping? What do you want from the man? To just run down the street naked on Pennsylvania Avenue? Just run. What do you want from him? He's telling you, he's acting to tell you he doesn't want to be nominee. What more do you want from him? What more can he do? What do you want him to do? Like, get behind the wheel and God forbid, like, what do you want him to do? What more has to happen for people to realize it's a charade? And like I said, he's not, this thing is not happening the way you think it is. It's not like, they're not stupid enough. They're not, when I call them imbeciles, they're more conniving than anything else and immoral. They know exactly what's going on. Everyone in Clinton's campaign, Biden's campaign is full of Clinton people. Clinton met with everyone running, including Biden. Aside from Bernie, but Bernie is there. He's an actor also. Don't get me started on Bernie Sanders. He's an actor also. There's a reason that Hollywood is obsessed with the Democratic Party and has sold their soul to the Democratic Party, because they're all actors. Biden's a better actor than most actors today. Listen to him. It's like what more has to happen? Who knows? Maybe he will take his clothes off. Maybe that's what it'll take for people to believe me. Here. Hold on. What more needs to happen? I don't even...
there's things that have to be done. During World War II, where Roosevelt came up with a thing that was totally different than he called it the World War II. He had the War Production Board.
This does not inspire confidence. Let's just assume, which I'm not, I'm wrong. This does not inspire confidence. Does anyone on the planet think that Biden has any chance against Trump? President Trump would be like a great white shark against a guppy. It would be like a semi-truck versus a Prius. It would be, I don't know what you want, the 85 Bears versus Jerry Nadler and the Congressional Democrat football team. Well, I mean, what more do you want? What has to happen? What has to happen? I don't even know what has to happen anymore. What more has to happen? Here, listen to it again. I mean, this isn't even one of the best, this is not one of his greatest hits. This is just every day that, takes place. Every day we have to hear more of this is another day where I'm proven right. I will have made the biggest political prediction of all time, and it's slowly taking place, and it's so annoying. It's like nails on a chalkboard. I know what's taking place. I'm the only person who has said this. Steve Bannon, nobody else has stated that she's going to be nominee. They said only she's going to run. I've stated Clinton 2020 is a reality. Get ready for 8 years of Trump. The article that I wrote, and I also wrote an article in the Times of Israel. The article that I wrote states that she's going to be nominee. And she's going to then run because they don't have money. They don't have money. Biden has $26 million. She had $182 million at this point. Trump has like $220 million. Biden has no social media is not that big of a deal, but he has nothing. You don't have to be immediate creation like Bernie, because that doesn't mean much, but you should have some presence. He has nothing. He's no presence. Bernie Sanders proved that social media does not equal political clout, but having no presence is a problem. So, I mean, what more has to happen? I don't know there has to be another thing. So he's going to say something absurd And it's going to be within the next week, 2 weeks, month. Really absurd. To the point where it's going to panic Democrats. Something's going to take place where Democrats say, we can't go with this guy, just like I predicted. And the entire liberal establishment will then turn on a dime and say, gee whiz, we tried. We can't do anything without Madam Secretary. She did get 65 million votes. The whole thing was a charade from the beginning. Just listen to it again, and I'll stop repeating myself. But here,
kinds of things that have to be done. There's during World War II, where Roosevelt came up with a thing that was totally different than he called it the World War II. He had the War Production Board.
Okay. You know the thing. Give me your thoughts below, ladies and gentlemen. What more has to happen? I don't know. What does Biden have to do? What does Biden have to do? What has to happen for Democrats to say, okay, you know what? It's our primary. We could do what we want, which is what they're going to do anyway. We've had enough. Who else do we have? Oh, maybe the person who won 65 million votes. She outspent Trump 2-1, but that's another story. Oh, but Clinton, she'll lose again. So what? She'll run in 2024. How is that a rebuttal? Won't she be embarrassed? Oh, she has $200 million, $150 million, her and Bill. Embarrassed? What? Half of the country will mourn her loss again. And she'll run in 2024, and then that's fine. And 2028, 2032, 2036, she'll always run. What's the problem? Eventually, she'll win the presidency. So, if they have a primary. No, they don't. Read the DNC emails. They have no primary. They have no primary. They don't have a primary. They cheated Bernie. They don't have a primary. What more has to happen? You want him to just take off his clothes? He's doing that next. Congrats. Nobody listened to me. Now Biden's going to go skinny dipping in the reflecting pool just because people wouldn't accept the H.A. Goodman prophecy of prediction. Give me your thoughts below. Subscribe to H.A. Goodman's other channel. If you want to support my voice long term, my Patreon.